When the husband decides that decision making is his, there is going to be violence. When the woman decides that decision making is hers, there is going to be violence.
Born to Mr. and Mrs. Kabushenga in Kabale district before relocating to Kanungu, Hilda Kabushenga Tadria attended Nyakatale Girls Primary School. She would join Kabale Junior Secondary School before Gayaza and later Makerere University.
I had no shoes, and I was never late even once in my primary school life.
The master's degree holder from Cambridge University worked as a research assistant at Makerere University after successfully completing her degree of philosophy. However, this was not enough, as she had always wanted to be like her mother, who had passionately worked for the empowerment of women.
She worked to make sure that they have safe lives. She worked on training them on health, and actually I worked with her when I was in my holidays during my secondary school holidays. But her whole life, she served to address women's issues.
And this paved the way for the founding of Mentoring and Empowerment Program, MEMPRO, which she heads as the executive director.
It's very depressing because you see abuse, you see discrimination, you see women who think they have no self-worth, you see girls who are in places they shouldn't be.
One of the lessons she has learned from this initiative is violence being the biggest factor that keeps the girls out of school.
We thought it was a simple job to go in and do some talks and just share. But when we started doing the work, we found that violence against girls in school is probably the biggest factor in keeping the girls out of school.
But there is also a challenge of parents marrying off their daughters at an early age. To this, she expresses happiness over parents' response towards their campaign.
Many parents are beginning to realize that actually there is no quick win. It's a very big loss. You've lost, the child has lost a future, and the child is back with you, plus her children. So a lot of parents up country who marry off their children are actually working now for their daughters and their grandchildren.
Referring to her late husband Tadria, whom she says was never afraid of an empowered woman, Kabushenga blames men for perpetrating domestic violence.
Gender relations are relations of power. Like it or not, patriarchy privileges men. And so when a man has a wife who can work, who can speak up and stand, who looks good, the fear is she's taking away my power. But what if we talk about shared power? You look good, I look good. You make money, I make money. We pool resources, we improve our home, we send our children to better schools. Why would you then want to beat me?
Girls and women empowerment, why not men? This is one of the questions she keeps answering in her activism routine.
Men need to be empowered in positive thinking about women. So actually in our program, we do gender and human rights training with men for them to be able to appreciate where society would be if we understood that the women also have rights. But in terms of empowerment, my answer to everybody is I will continue to empower women and girls as long as we have a system in which women do not have access even to control their bodies.
This in a sense shows that much as there have been achievements in this campaign, it has not been without challenges.
We work with primary and we work with secondary. They all tell us that for them, love, relationships must translate in sex, no matter the age, primary, secondary. And then you have a mainstream which thinks if you talk about sex and reproductive health information, you actually are damaging children. Our children are being damaged because they have no access to information.
One would wonder who really inspired her to be able to overcome these challenges.
Golda Meir, whom most people don't know about, one of the first few women prime ministers of Israel. I mean, to imagine that in those years there was a female prime minister. For me, I followed her story.
She says several girls and women have been reached in the campaign to empower the female gender. What she maintains to date is what she prefers to call parental lack of appreciation for the female gender, something she says ruins the girl child. Henry Okrut, UBC.